You got the big memory for the camera, and now you've filled it a couple hundred or 1,000 pictures later. You got rid of the film, but at the end of the day, those pictures have to go somewhere, right? When you take out that memory card and load the photos onto your computer, you can manipulate, print, and email them. And then what? If you're taking a lot of photos, and why not, since you don't have to pay for film or developing now, then that can fill up your computer hard drive pretty quick. There are a few options for storing your photos that you may want to consider: CDs, DVDs, and removable hard drives. One of the things you might want to consider is how big of a file you're going to keep for each image. Unless you're going to blow up your image very large, you probably don't need to store extremely high-resolution images. So you might want to consider how big of an image are you regularly capturing on your camera. Perhaps before archiving them on a CD or a DVD or whatever, you should take a look at the file size. A very good size for an image that will give you a quality 5x7 print is about 1 megabyte. You will be able to fit over 600 of these on a CD and over 4,000 on a DVD. Lots of pics. Imagine having to sit through a slideshow of 4,000 pictures at your neighbors. Yikes. You may also have been editing your images and aren't sure if you should save your pictures in an uncompressed Photoshop version. Well, these files are quite large, so if you have limited disk space and think you're done editing, just save them as a standard file type with a good quality resolution and you will be fine. It can't hurt to keep an uncompressed backup copy though, so if you have the space and think you might do more editing, go ahead and save in Photoshop's proprietary format. Just remember that the Photoshop file is probably anywhere from 5 to 50 meg, so you aren't going to be able to save very many compared to a nicely compressed file. Now, let's take a look at the storage mediums, the things you are going to save on. The per megabyte costs of storage are always changing, but currently all of these mediums are relatively close in cost, and the way you want to store or retrieve the data may actually affect your cost the most. For example, say you want to store your images by trips or events. Then you will probably want to store on a CD, because it is unlikely that you will fill one CD, let alone a DVD or a hard drive for each trip or event. If you want to store by year, then you maybe want to consider storing on a DVD and keep adding to it throughout the year. If, on the other hand, you just want to store and store and store, then you might want to go with an external hard drive. Remember that all of these storage mediums have their downfalls. You can break a CD or DVD, although it's difficult. If you scratch one, you may lose some data, but you can always get it polished. A disk drive can crash, and you can lose everything. It is your choice. Choose what works best for you, but remember to back it up. Compact discs are the smallest and cheapest discs to buy, and for most are probably the least expensive, simplest way of backing up and organizing photos. Chances are that your computer can burn CDs, and if not, you can always purchase an external CD burner that plugs into a USB or FireWire port. There are two kinds of writable CD, CD-R and CD-RW. CD-R is a writable CD, meaning that you can write data to the disk, but once it's there, you can't change it. A CD-RW is a rewritable CD, which you can add to and rewrite again and again. A CD can hold about 700 megabytes. If you're using 256 meg storage cards, then that's almost 3 memory cards worth of photos on one disk. You may want to let the photos accumulate on your hard drive until you have enough to fill a CD and burn them then. You can organize your photos by date, or, if you get enough of them together, by category. You can then label the CD and file it and back it up. To burn a CD, you just need to organize your photos on your desktop and put a blank CD into your CD burner. The blank disk will appear on your desktop, and you just drag the folders with the photos onto the blank disk. In Windows, you then right-click on the disk icon and choose Burn CD from the pop-up menu. On a Mac, you just go to the File menu and choose Burn Disk. DVD, short for digital, versatile, disc, also comes in writable and rewritable formats, or DVD-R and DVD-RW. And the burning process works in the same way. The big difference here is that a DVD can hold about 5 gigabytes of information. That's more than 7 times as much as a CD. DVDs are a little pricier, and DVD burners aren't as standard in computers, but the extra storage space on each disk is a huge bonus. There's a lot more room to store bigger folders, or even photos that you've manipulated and made into much larger documents. Some Photoshop files can be too big to fit on a CD at all, so if you're doing a lot of work with image manipulation, you may need to go at least to DVD. The ultimate in photo storage, though, is the external hard drive. These are the most expensive, but they more than make up for it in the features they provide. A removable hard drive is exactly like your computer's internal hard drive, but it plugs into a USB or FireWire port and appears as a second hard drive on your desktop. Now you can add folders, download photos straight to that hard drive instead of your desktop, and reorganize your photos as much as you want. There's a ton of extra room. Most external drives have at least 100 gigabytes of storage. The flexibility of being able to constantly reorganize your photos and having them all in one place rather than on a series of disks can be incredibly convenient. So, how you decide to store and organize your photos depends a lot on how many you'll have and how often you will want to reorganize them. CDs may be all you need, or you may want to spring for the hard drive. Either way, you'll have a blast with all your photos.